Well, good evening to all pro wrestling fans of all shapes and sizes from all around the world. Welcome to another Pro Wrestling Talk video brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube. I am your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. So, got a lot to talk about in this episode. Gonna go over a handful of tournaments. We got some tournament updates for TJPW, for STARDOM. There's a Noah tournament that's coming up that wanted to mention as well. So, going to talk some tournaments. Also going to give my review of TNA Genesis 2025. Going to talk about some of the updated schedule postings for not only GCW The Collective, but also DPW, Prestige, and West Coast Pro. Got some updates there. Also going to talk about the recent information from the United Japan Pro Wrestling organization. There was a recent conference and a lot was talked about. So gonna go through that as well. But yeah, got a good bit to talk about. Okay, let's start off with some tournaments, shall we? So we're gonna start off with the TJPW 5th Futariwa Princess Max Heart Tournament number 5. We have now reached the semifinals, so we have our semifinal matchups. So let's go ahead and open up the bracket and let's see how things look so far. Check it out. All right, here we go. It's been quite an interesting tournament. But let's look at the final 4. So we're going to start, you know what? We're going to start from the top right. So the team of Haru Kazushiro and Toga were able to defeat Ivy Steele and Kira Summer in the first round. Of course, that was the team that a while back challenged for the tag titles. But then what many say is an upset, as they went to face the team of Himawari and Shino Suzuki, Himawari and Shino Suzuki actually defeated Haru Kazushiro and Toga in the quarterfinals to advance to the semifinals. Was actually kind of surprised about that. But yeah, Himawari and Shino Suzuki are in the semis. And then if you look down below, so Kyoraku Kiyome eliminated Chika Nanase and Mifu Ashida in the first round, and then went on to the quarterfinals. Didn't have any issues there, as they were able to defeat Yoshiko Hasegawa and Kaya Toribami, which was a good match, actually. They did not win that match easily, but it was a good match. It was a really good match. And yeah, Kyoraku Kiyome, which are Shoko Nakajima, Hyper Misao, also made it to the semifinals. So we know that one semifinal matchup, Kyoraku Kiyome versus Himawari Shino Suzuki. Alright, and then we go to the left side of the bracket, starting at the bottom here. So Pom Paler was able to defeat the Up girls of Uta Takami and Miyu Watanabe in the first round. Then they went on to the quarterfinals and were able to handle Yuki Aino and Raku, although they did put up a really good fight. I mean, a really good fight. But they made it to the semis. And then at the top, Wakana Uehara and Yukikami Fuku with a big first round upset over last year's tournament winners and also former Princess Tag Team champions in Daisy Monkey, Aris Endo, and Suzume. And actually, Wakana was able to submit Aris Endo to get the victory. So, very impressive victory, defeating the very strong Daisy Monkey. And like I said, they were last year's winners. And then they went on to the quarterfinals and was able to defeat Mahiro Kiryu and Haruna Neko to secure a semifinal spot. So you have Wakana and Kamiyu versus Pom Paler. So that's the other semifinal matchup. So the semifinals will take place at Shinjuku Face on January 25th, which is this weekend. I believe that's Friday? Wait, no. Saturday. So for these two semifinal matchups, Pom Paler versus Wakana and Kamiyu. To be honest, that's a matchup that could go either way. That's really a matchup that could go either way. To be honest, though, I mean, Pom Paler is the stronger team. I mean, they're the more experienced team compared to Wakana and Kamiyu. But I mean, the thing that sticks out is the fact that Wakana and Kamiyu beat last year's winners in the first round. So that's got to carry a lot of stock going forward in this tournament for Wakana and Kamiyu. So, I mean, shoot. Because of that, I kind of have to give them a little bit of an advantage with this matchup. Just a little bit. Just based on momentum and just the strength of their path. Not saying that Pom Paler's path was easy, but I still think it could go either way. But I'm going to give a little bit, just a little bit, of an advantage to Wakana and Kamiyu just based on path, the difficulty of the path they had. But like I said, Pom Paler could make it to the finals as well. So I think either of those two teams are very capable of making it to the finals or even winning the whole thing. So there's that. And then the other semifinal matchup, Kyoraku Kyome versus Himawari Shino Suzuki. To be honest, this should easily go to Kyoraku Kyome. I really don't think Himawari and Shino Suzuki are strong enough to beat a team, a very experienced team like Kyoraku Kyome. So I honestly expect Kyoraku Kyome to be in the finals. Like, I will be really, really shocked if Himawari and Shino Suzuki upset them. I really don't think it's going to happen. And I don't think it should happen, to be honest with you. But when it comes to tournaments, you never know. You just never know. But I'm picking Kyoraku Kyome to at least be one of the finalists. But we'll see what happens this weekend. And then the finals will be on February 8th, which I believe will be at Corcoran Hall. But, yeah. So, it's been quite an interesting tournament. But, yeah. Looking forward to it. Looking very forward to it. Alrighty. Switching gears to World Wonder Ring Stardom. So, we now have our finals set for the 14th anniversary New Year Unit League. So, gonna pull up the spreadsheet, go over the block standings, and then talk a little bit about the finals matchup. Alright, let's go. Alright, starting with the red block. So, finishing at the bottom, both factions, for both units, tied at 5 points with final records of 2, 3, and 1 are Stars and God's Eye. Let's take a look at God's Eye first. So overall, when they went up against Stars, they finished 1-1-1. So they got 1 victory, 1 loss, and 1 draw. But Empress Nexus Venus, they only got 1 win, but 2 losses. So EXV dominated, or pretty much won that set. And then same thing with Stars. Like I said, Stars, 1-1 against God's Eye, lost 1, and then had a draw. So there's that. And same thing with Empress Nexus Venus. 1-1, but lost 2, which is how they ended up with 2, 3, and 1. But your winning red block unit ended up being Empress Nexus Venus, as they finished with 8 points total on a record of 4-1. 4-1. So, pretty much against both Stars and God's Eye, they finished 2-1. So actually, I need to change this to 4-2, because God's Eye, both God's Eye and Stars at least got 1 win on them. So it's really 4-2. And yeah, Empress Nexus Venus wins the red block and advances to the finals. Now, competing for Empress Nexus Venus, just as a heads up, are Maika, Mina Shirakawa, Waka Tsukiyama, Hanako, and Rion. I believe that's all 5 that are competing. So there's that. And like I said, I was a little bummed with God's Eye, being that, God's Eye had a good number of members for their unit competing in this tournament. I mean, with the exception of Hina. It was like, with the exception of Hina and like 1 other member. But really thought they kind of had the advantage. But it is what it is. It was just really a bummer that it went the way it did for them. But anyway, Empress Nexus Venus makes it out of the red block and will be in the finals. Now let's switch over to the blue block. Let's go. Let's see, for the blue block, actually, This should be 3 and 3. Dang, I keep messing this up. Okay. All right. So, sitting at the bottom, Cosmic Angels, who finished with a record of 2, 3, and 1 for 5 points total. When they went up against Neo Genesis, they won 1, lost 1, and then they had the draw. And then when they went up against Hate, they had 1 win and 2 losses. So, Cosmic Angels struggled a decent bit. Hate finished with 6 points total on a final record of 3 and 3. They defeated Cosmic Angels 2-1, but struggled against Neo Genesis, finishing 1 and 2. So, yeah, pretty much had Cosmic Angels' number, but Neo Genesis not so much. And then your winning blue block unit ended up being Neo Genesis, finishing with a final record of 3, 2, and 1 for 7 points. They dominated Hate 2-1, and with Cosmic Angels, they finished 1, 1, and 1 against them. But yeah, Neo Genesis, that's Starlight Kid, Miyu Amasaki, Suzu Suzuki, Azumi, and Mei Seira. So yeah, going into the finals, I mean, it's pretty even, because both Empress Nexus Venus and Neo Genesis will have 5 members represented for their units. So at least it's fair. At least it's even. You know, it's 5 on 5. So hey, at least it's fair. Now, the finals, which will take place on January 23rd, the finals will be a 30-minute Iron Man match. That's right, 30-minute Iron Man match. And let's see. But yeah, it's going to be 5 on 5. Empress Nexus Venus of Maika, Mina Shirakawa, Hanako, Waka Tsukiyama, and Rian against Neo Genesis of Starlight Kid, Miyu Amasaki, Azumi, Mei Seira, and Suzu Suzuki. And the way it works is pretty much the unit with the most points will be declared the winner. And I assume, I guess they're going to do, 2 points per pinfall or submission. I'm guessing they're going to do it like that. But yeah, that'll be quite a matchup. Me personally, I would love to see Neo Genesis win. I know Starlight Kid wants Neo Genesis to each hold championships, at least before the end of this year. I mean, they already have 2. Starlight Kid has the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Mei Seira has the High Speed Championship. So, I mean, you know, Suzu Suzuki has an opportunity February 2nd against Saya Kamitani for the World of Stardom Championship. So, hey. But the finals of this tournament will be January 23rd at Shinkapa First Ring. I've been to that venue before during my Japan trip. But yeah, and wow, even tickets, even the tickets for the show sold out, actually. So, nice. It's not a big card. It's not a big card, so yeah. And of course, the winner of said tournament, they will get 2 title opportunities of their choice, which I do wonder how they're going to do that. I do wonder how they're going to do that because, I mean, it'll be 5 members. It'll be 5 members. So I do wonder how they're going to do that because I'm sure each member is going to want to partake in a title shot of some choice. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see what they decide to do. But I'm curious, really curious to see what they do. But yeah, should be good. Alrighty. Now there's another tournament that I just found out about not too long ago through Pro Wrestling Noah, and that is the Junior Heavyweight Tag League. That's right, Junior Heavyweight Tag League, and definitely want to take a look at the competitors for said tag league. Let me try to pull this up because I knew there were names listed. Just bear with me 1 second. Let's see. Maybe if I go to stuff. Man, see, I cannot find it. Okay. Oh, here we go. I found it. All right. So, taking a look at the teams that we have. So, it's 8 teams total. 8 teams total. Split into 2 blocks. So 4 in the A block, 4 in the B block. Let's take a look at who we have. So A block first. All right? Here we go. So this is the lineup for the A block. So we got the team of Hayata and Yohei. We got the team of Mark True and Kieran Lacey. Never heard of them. We got the team of Alejandro and Kai Fujimura of All Rebellion. And then we have a team to be announced, like a hidden team. Team yet to be revealed, which I'm not sure when they're going to reveal this team, but hopefully we will find out soon. All right. And then let's look at the B block. All right, for the B block, we have Team Noah of Atsushi Kotoke and Hajime Ohara. We got Tadasuke and Kikuchi. I forgot how to say his name. Yeah, I forgot how to say his name. Masaoka. Not familiar with him. Gaia Hawks, who Gaia Hawks I met when I was in Japan at Natsu's bar, so really good to see Gaia Hawks in this. And then the team of Amamiya, which is Amakusa and Junta Miyawaki. So interesting set of teams. Let's go back. Let's go back to the A block. Let's go back to the A block. So, to be honest, looking at this block, I mean, definitely got to give Hayata Yohei an advantage. I mean, they're a pretty strong team. True and Lacey, I'm not familiar with this team, so be curious to see how they do. Alejandro Kai Fujimura. I don't know if it's like the strongest combination from All Rebellion, but I mean they're both junior heavyweights, so I guess it does kind of make sense. But I think finding out with this team, this to be announced team, I think is really gonna determine some things. But you know something? And see, there's even a comment on here. Somebody said, please get Fraxium. You never know. I mean, we got to remember, Tavion Heights and Josh Briggs were in last year's N1 Victory tournament. So who knows? Maybe they could get a tag team from NXT to participate in this tournament. I mean, you never know. They could be the to-be-announced team. And I mean, Fraxium would qualify, but I think to be safe, they would probably have to take the titles off of them first, which I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But I mean, I think they could get a junior heavyweight tag team from NXT to participate in this tournament and be the hidden A block team. I hope they can do it. I hope they can pull the trigger and do that. I think that would be cool. And then back to the B block. So back to the B block. To be honest, I mean, of course I'll be pulling for Amakusa and Junta Miyawaki. I mean, I'm a big Amakusa fan. And it'll be good to see Gaia Hawks compete. So, I mean, this ought to be fun. This ought to be a fun tournament. So it looks like the tournament starts February 11th. And the finals is March 2nd. So I'll definitely have to monitor this tournament. I'll have to put a spreadsheet together for this one. And it looks like, okay, so they're going to start off at Corcoran Hall. So February 11th at Corcoran Hall. And then the finals will be in Yokohama. Maybe perhaps Yokohama Budokan? Perhaps March 2nd? But, yeah. I'm pretty excited for it. You know? I've never seen their junior heavyweight tag league, which I don't know if this is a new tournament for them. Somebody will have to let me know. I don't think it is. I think maybe it's under a different name. I don't know. But this is exciting. This is exciting. So I'm definitely looking forward, and we'll be keeping an eye on this tournament. Should be good. Should be really good. Okay. Let's see. let's talk about some of the updated schedules for WrestleMania weekend. For WrestleMania weekend in April. So, a couple of things. Let's see. Let's start off with WrestleMania. But check it out. So, they have announced WWE World will be back in Vegas for WrestleMania week, just like they did for Philly last year. And it'll be from Thursday, April 17th to Monday, April 21st at the Las Vegas Convention Center, which I recently found out is only a short, like 5-minute walk from my hotel, because I'll be staying at the Westgate Resort and Casino Hotel. And as it says, tickets go on sale February 3rd at noon Eastern. And, you know, it's usually a bunch of meet and greets, access to the superstore, stuff like that. There's that. And like I said, I might try to do like maybe Monday, April 21st. Because, I mean, the other days there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. But I wanted to at least mention this, for especially for those that may be interested. And I believe in a few days, I think in 2 days, they're going to open up individual ticket sales for WrestleMania 41 for nights 1 and 2. So for those that don't want to get combo tickets, they can purchase the individual. But yeah, so we got that. All right. So GCW The Collective have announced their ticket packages. Check it out. So the ticket packages. So they got 5 tiers. Starting from the cheapest. It's the 100 level package, which is a general admission package, for $329. You got the third row package, which is third row seating, $589. Second row package seating, $639. Front row package is $749. And then apparently there is a VIP suite, which is $999, and it includes a private bar and bathroom. Now, looking at this, pretty much, I think it's safe to say, which I think is similar to last year, which I didn't do a ticket package last year because there was only certain shows that I were interested in. You know what I mean? So I didn't do a ticket package. But this is pretty much a ticket package for all 11 shows. It pretty much guarantees you, based on the tier. So if you do like the front row package, you'll be front row for all 11 shows on the collective. So, I mean, it's really a good deal for those that definitely plan on going to each show of the collective. It's really a good deal. But like I said, I know I'm not going to go to every show because, like I said, I'm still very interested in attending Stardom, Marigold, and Spark. So, there's that. But, and just to reiterate, these are the shows. These are the shows. So, just to reiterate, on Thursday, April 17th, Defy Wrestling, WrestleCon, Mark Hitchcock Memorial Super Show, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 13, Progress Wrestling, all on Thursday the 17th. On the 18th, TJPW, DDT, Joey Janela's Spring Break 9, Heels Have Eyes for the Culture. And then Saturday the 19th, Effie's Big Gay Brunch 10, the TJPW versus DDT versus GCW, and then the Joey Janela Spring Break Cluster You Know What Forever on the 19th. So I know for sure that I don't plan on going to all 11 of these shows. Realistically, the only shows that I even have some sort of interest are Defy, TJPW, Progress, and the TJPW DDT GCW collab show. But if I had to pick out of this 11, if I had to pick the ones that are like top priority for me, definitely TJPW is at the top of the list for sure. And I would say the collab show here on Saturday as well. So you have that. But check this out. There was another announcement earlier today. And here it is. Okay. So the West Coast Pro Wrestling, DPW, and Prestige Wrestling schedule have been posted. So for the 2 days, Thursday, April 17th, and Friday, April 18th. Now here's the interesting thing. Take a look at this. So on Thursday, April 17th, at 12 p.m., we have an unannounced show. 4 p.m. is West Coast Pro. 8 p.m. Prestige Wrestling. And then on Friday, at 12 p.m. and 8 p.m., you have to be announced shows. And then 4 p.m. is Deadlock Pro Wrestling, DPW. And here's the thing. It's saying a few other special guests will be joining us so the venue is Meet Las Vegas. That's the name of the venue, Meet Las Vegas. And tickets for these shows go on sale January 31st at 10 a.m. So that's Friday, I believe next Friday. So the Thursday 12 p.m., Friday 12 p.m., and Friday 8 p.m. slots, I am willing to bet money that those will be collaboration shows. Now, what it really makes me wonder is, are there going to be collaboration shows within these three promotions, or could they collaborate with shows of other promotions that'll be there WrestleMania week? You see what I'm saying? Because think about it. For example, like TJPW. TJPW doesn't have their show until Friday, April 18th. So they could do a collab show Thursday, April 17th with one of these three promotions. You know? When you think about it, they could do something like that. I mean, heck, maybe on Friday, maybe the 12 p.m. or 8 p.m. show, who knows? Maybe Defy Wrestling or Progress Wrestling could do a collab show with one of these three promotions on either of these two time slots. Because remember, Defy and Progress are both on Thursday. So technically they could do a collab on Friday. You know what I mean? Heck, who knows? Maybe depending on when what the schedule will be for Marigold and Stardom and Spark, who knows? Maybe either of those three promotions could collab with any of these three promotions here for these time slots. But like I said, it's gonna depend on schedule. It's gonna depend on what their schedules are. But it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really tough. So let's see. Here's what I'm gonna do, because I've actually taken screenshots of both of these. Let me pull these up and put them sort of like side by side. Yeah, let me do that, because I want to definitely have these side by side. Okay. All right. So this is what we have. So all on April 17th, you pretty much have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shows on the 17th, 7 shows on the 18th, 3 shows on the 19th. So far. Like I said, we don't know when Stardom is doing their show, Marigold or Spark. We don't know when they're doing their shows, but they are doing shows WrestleMania week. So, looking at the schedule, I understand that, you know, when it comes down to it, on Thursday, shoot, I'd have to either choose Defy Wrestling or whatever this collab show will be. Because, I mean, the time slots are similar. I mean, Defy's at 11 a.m. This to be announced shows at 12. And like I said, the venues aren't far from each other. So there's that. West Coast Pro at 4. The WrestleCon Memorial Super Show at 3. Both Bloodsport 13 and Prestige is at 8. Progress at midnight. So I could probably do Progress and not, you know, overlap anything. Perhaps. And then the 18th, like I said, TJPW at 11. This collab at noon. DDT at 3 p.m. DPW at 4. Joey Janela's Spring Break 9 at 7. This to be announced at 8 p.m. And then For the Culture at midnight. So, watch them end up doing something like TJPW at 11 a.m. Watch they end up doing something like a collab with like Stardom or Marigold at 12 p.m. or something crazy like that. Or Spark. Then that's going to really make it complicated for me. It's like, ugh. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is a good problem to have, but it is a problem. You see what I'm saying? It is a problem, but it's a good problem. So, but yeah, got a lot to think about. But like I said, this weekend they're going to do the ticket packages for the collective, and then next weekend the individual show tickets. And then they're doing the tickets for the Coast. Well, they're calling it the Coast, which is, you know, the Prestige DPW West Coast collaboration. Tickets for those go on sale January 31st. And it does make me wonder if they're going to do a package deal. Makes me wonder if they're going to do a package deal for these. You know, maybe a package to go to all 6. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm curious to see what they do. I'm very curious to see what they do, and hopefully they will announce what the other collab shows are. Maybe by the end of this week or by the end of next week. You know what I mean? Because I do want to get an idea, so it'll either make my decision easier towards certain shows over others and such. But I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, I know I've been to a Defy show. I've been to a Progress show. I've been to DDT. I don't really care that much about DDT. And you know, I've been to 2 TJPW shows now. Or at least 2, like, solo TJPW shows. So, I mean, haven't been to a Prestige show, nor a West Coast Pro, nor Bloodsport, which, I've been to a For the Culture, just under, you know, different name. Haven't been to a Joey Janela's Spring Break, which, I'm kind of iffy about it. So, decisions, y'all. Decisions. Okay. Moving on to some interesting news in regards to United Japan Pro Wrestling, which has officially moved to become an incorporated organization. And they did a press conference. So let's see. Let me pull this out. Okay. And let's see. This first article, United Japan Pro Wrestling Incorporates in press conference. And I'm just going to read some of the notes from this article. Very interesting stuff. So, special press conference on January 20th, which was 2 days ago, saw the official recognition of United Japan Pro Wrestling as a general incorporated association. The legal designation of the industry group strengthens governance and enhances public transparency, as well as allowing for more freedom in the scope of UJPW, while maintaining that commercial activity is not a core goal of the association, which is a non-profit organization. And the chairman is apparently Senshiro Takagi. In the press conference, it explained the move to incorporation and its function in the UJPW's mission statement, which is to support the people of Japan through professional wrestling, as well as to show the strengths of pro wrestling to the world. Currently, the current member organizations of this association, so far, you have All Japan Pro Wrestling, Big Japan Pro Wrestling, DDT Pro Wrestling, Dragon Gate, Ganbare Pro Wrestling, Kyushu Pro Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Noah, Stardom, and Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. So that's 10 so far. 10 promotions, 10 organizations represented under this UJPW banner so far. But Senshiro Takagi presented a roadmap for any future promotions or members to join. And he listed 7 requirements in order to join UJPW. Let's see. Here are the 7 requirements. Number 1, it has to be an organization that's regularly running active promotion in Japan. So you have to be running an active promotion that runs on a regular basis, like consistently. 2, it has to be a legally recognized company. Legally recognized company, promotion, whatever. 3, has to have at least one contracted wrestler working for them. That seems simple enough. Here's where it gets interesting. 4, you have to have an annual revenue of at least 50 million yen. I don't know how difficult or easy that is, but I'm under the assumption that not all of them have that annual revenue. You know what I mean? Especially, I would think the smaller promotions probably don't. I mean, I don't know if, like, Ice Ribbon has that or Marvelous or whatnot, but like I said, could be easy, could be hard, I don't know. All right, 5, you have to have been established for at least 2 years. 6, have to have a corporate compliance system in place for wrestlers and staff. Which I don't 100% know what that means, but I'm sure it's a big deal, and I think it's necessary. And then 7, you have to share in a vision of betterment for the pro wrestling space at large, even in competition with other members. Sensho Takagi also explained a roadmap for supporting members of the association to join would be announced in the near future, with the key difference and barrier to entry being that the annual revenue and contracted wrestler distinctions are waived. Interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, this is, like I said, this is very interesting. As far as goals of the group, definitely want to introduce more people to professional wrestling and elevating its status in society. And want more international efforts, explaining the need to introduce the world to the unique culture of Japanese professional wrestling and using this as the basis to drive tourism to Japan. I mean, hey, I was just in Japan not too long ago, and I went to 15 wrestling shows, so that should tell you something. Apparently it's working. Wants to expand the marketplace of professional wrestling in Japan with a vision to grow the entire industry to double its current size within the next decade. Citing 1954 as the beginning of the current era of professional wrestling in Japan in the form of the JWA under Rikido-san, Takagi discussed a vision of supporting the people of Japan as we approach pro wrestling centennial. Immediate goals for the group: further strengthening and regular meetings with the Japanese government, as well as collaboration between member organizations on policies for health and safety of wrestlers. This is very interesting stuff. And like I said, I'll put the links to these articles in the description so you can check them out. But these are very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. And then they had different member representatives speak at the UJPW Incorporation Conference. So you had a bunch of representatives. So you had executives and wrestlers from each of the member promotions. So for New Japan Pro Wrestling and Stardom, they were represented by Hiroshi Tanahashi, Taro Okada, Hitoshi Matsumoto, Takaki Kidani, and pro wrestlers Shota Umino, Toki Makabe, Maika, and Hanako. Let's see. For Cyberfight, which includes Pro Wrestling Noah and DDT, let's see. We had Yasuo Okamoto and Narahiro Takeda. And you had pro wrestlers Kaito Kiyomiya, Chris Brooks, Miyu Yamashita, and Haru Kazushiro present. Of course, Kaito Kiyomiya of Pro Wrestling Noah, Chris Brooks of DDT, Miyu Yamashita, and Haru Kazushiro of TJPW. Okay, All Japan Pro Wrestling, let's see, they had presidents Tsuyoki Fukada, and you had Shotaro Ashino. And then for Dragon Gate, you had Ryo Saito and Yamato represented. Eiji Tosaki and Hideyoshi Kamitani represented for Big Japan Wrestling. Michiyoshi Mishima, Ken Oka, and Yuna Manase representing Gambare Pro Wrestling. And Ryota Chikuzen representing Kyushu Pro Wrestling. From legal perspective, TMI Associates Yukito Nagaoka and auditor Shinya Yamada. And that was the whole press conference lineup. Okay. And a lot of folks got on here and discussed their thoughts. I think pretty much everybody that I named got a chance to speak. So I won't go through everybody, but I'll go through some familiar names to me. Let's see. Ryo Saito, he says, and I quote, "Wrestling has supported the best fans in Japan for 70 years, but there are still a lot of people who have a negative image of pro wrestling. One of the missions of this association is to remove all the barriers to pro wrestling and take away any negative or intimidating impression that wrestling has. Wrestlers and staff have an important responsibility to take to heart, including for a smaller organization like Dragon Gate, to grow the image of pro wrestling among the populace and to make it a stable and attractive industry in which to work." And like I said, I used to watch a lot of Dragon Gate like long time ago. And like I said, I've even been to a Dragon Gate USA show. So he makes some good points. There are still many that view pro wrestling as a negative. I mean, just recently I have random folks get on my channel and bash pro wrestling, talk about how fake it is and, modern wrestling sucks and all that. And it's ridiculous. But yeah, still exists. Let's see what Mr. Ace President Hiroshi Tanahashi had to say. He says, and I quote, "I fell in love with pro wrestling at a young age and have been driven and energized it for all that time. Wherever there may be, the knowledge of people fighting for them is something that inspires so many. I'm on my final countdown right now, but I hope that perhaps I can make appearances in the other members of this association before I retire." Mr. Ace President. Takaki Kidani. Let me see what he had to say. He said, and I quote, "This June I will turn 65. I first encountered pro wrestling in junior high, so 50 years from now. I didn't enjoy my life in school back then and didn't have much to look forward to. But what drove me to go on to do what I did in life came in large part, maybe the most part, from Antonio Inoki, may he rest in peace. Pro wrestling culture, inspiration, entertainment is something that I dearly hope can be brought to inspire more people, and that's why I'm proud to be here today. Right on. Right on. Let's see. Let's see what Taro Okada had to say. He says, I have two things I'd like to say. First, representing a women's wrestling promotion, being STARDOM. Being part of this association will be very important for bringing more people to our part of pro wrestling. Also, I'm a young member of this lineup today in my 30s, but I want to make it a goal of ours and this association to bring in the generations underneath me into our world as fans. And of course, Taro Okada I have met. I've met him before last year in Philly. Okay. Tsuyoki Fukada, of course, the president of All Japan Pro Wrestling, he says, there is something that only All Japan can bring to this association and to this industry, and I'm glad for us to do so. Kept it short and simple. Let's see. Let's look at some quotes from some of the wrestlers. Let's see. Shota Umino. He says, we have had all together events up to now, and I would love to further the pro wrestling space in the future, as well as to do whatever I can through pro wrestling to support the people of Japan. I hope we're proactive as a group and work together to bring people strength, especially in the wake of disasters or other challenges the country may face. Well said. Kaito Kiyomiya. He says, UJPW can truly bring pro wrestling to more people in the future. As a wrestler, how to further this business is something that I'd like to constantly think about, and I hope we can all grow side by side together. And let's see what Chris Brooks has to say, with him being a foreigner. He says, wrestling is borderless and truly something that unites people. I hope we can all create a new era for this industry going forward. Kept it short and simple. Let's see what Miyu Yamashita had to say, the Pink Striker. She says, I've been wrestling abroad a lot recently and always see the respect that fans in the wrestling business has for Japanese wrestling in particular. I want to keep that connection from Japan to the world as something very important to us. Hey, that's very positive. And, you know, I met Miyu Yamashita here in North Carolina twice. So I can relate to what she's saying. And like I said, I've gotten a chance to see a good amount of Japanese wrestling here in the States. And I hope that connection continues, and I hope it strengthens more and more, especially this year, and especially being that I got a chance to see a lot of pro wrestling in Japan and just got even more and more respect for it. You know what I mean? Let's see what Haru Kazushiro had to say. She says, I'm only 16. Oh, wow, so she's younger than Uta Takami. I thought Uta Takami was the youngest, aside from Runa Okubo. Huh, interesting. Anyway, she says, I'm only 16, but have loved wrestling all the more since joining TJPW. I'd love for more children to be drawn to this industry. From safety standards to corporate compliance, I hope that UJPW can help do just that. There we go. Micah. Let's see what Micah has to say. Let's see. Micah says, as the slogan of supporting the people of Japan suggests, I think UJPW can do so much to support and bring joy to the whole country, not just through my promotion, but all the companies represented here today. Nice, nice. Hanako, let's see what Hanako had to say. She says, I'm only 2 years into my career, but I'm well aware that I represent the future of the industry. I'm very proud in the knowledge that Japanese wrestling and Japanese women's wrestling is the best in the world. And I hope that UJPW can help make the whole world aware of this fact. Hey, I love it. I love it, love it. Let me see what Yamato had to say. He says, it's truly an honor to be part of this historic moment. Speaking as part of Dragon Gate, we will be working to raise the social status of this historic industry together. And Yamato, I met in Philly. Let's see what Ken Oka had to say. Says, this is a wonderful moment. All of pro wrestling can come together and really take the industry to its greatest heights. Agreed. Let's see what Yuna Manase had to say, who I met while I was in Japan. She says, I'm so happy for UJPW to be incorporated, and I want to bring that happiness to more people in the future. It's wonderful to be able to exchange ideas with so many people from in and out of the ring, and I hope we can keep bringing the joy of wrestling to more and more. And we'll finish up with Togi Makabe. He says, way back in the day, people that are grandmas and grandpas and beyond really received so much hope and strength from guys like Ricky Dozan. I always feel wrestling is about the strength to stand up, the power to keep fighting. We as wrestlers do that, and this association can truly create something new, create a level for the wrestling world at large. They also had a Q&A session afterwards. Let me see. Let me take a look at some of these questions. Oh, here's a good one. In the wake of the incorporation, do you feel that there is something specific that the wrestling industry lacks currently? What's the major early goal for the group? And this is from the press. Roshi Tanahashi answered and said, I don't think that we're lacking anything per se. We have the tools and the stars to bring wrestling forward, and this association can make sure that each individual's promotion stars can make the most impact possible in society. Let's see. Are there specific matters when it comes to wrestler safety that you can address? Would there be contributions to a commission like inboxing to help injured wrestlers? Ooh, this is a good question. Sanshiro Takagi answered it. Says, you're quite right that improved financial support for injured wrestlers as well as unified safety guidelines is a big topic that the members of this organization are considering. That can mean helping make sure capable medical staff are present at events and helping with ongoing care and so forth. I'd say that's a pretty straightforward answer. It says, to make a clear distinction, moving forward, is UJPW a promotional company running shows or on a more behind-the-scenes basis? That's another good question. Sanshiro Takagi says, this is an association designed to support the industry at large, and it should be stated that UJPW is an NPO, meaning non-profit organization. While there may be events where organizations come together under the UJPW banner, but there are none planned at this point. So no plans currently, but it's most likely going to happen at some point. At some point. Ooh, here's a good one. See, there was a statement made earlier about supporting the independents. What help can be given to independents who can't join at this stage? Oh, that's a really good question. Says, Sancho Takagi answers and says, "We want to be as assertive as possible and cooperate as possible, not just to the few. There are 100 organizations in Japan, so we are not able to hear every single one, but we want to do all we can." Dang, 100 organizations. Wow. Yeah, I can understand that. Oh, here's another good one. Why is there a minimum amount of revenue promotions need to make to be part of the association? Ooh, good question. Sancho Takagi answers, he says, really? This is about having serious promotions that are committed and continuing to be in business. The 50 million yen entry point is a baseline, but we are open to discussions to see what we can do with smaller groups. And you know what? That's fair. That's fair because I mean, you're gonna want to invest in promotions that are committed to doing what they can to stay in business. So I can understand. I can understand that. And then being open, with the smaller groups, we'll see what we can do, sort of thing. Like, I think that's a fair answer. I think that's a fair answer. Um, let's see. Are there any connections to be made between UJPW and the Asia Pacific Pro Wrestling Federation? Interesting question. Hiroshi Tanahashi answers this one. Says, there are no specific plans at current, but where there is overlap in common goals, then we will assist where possible. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Are there business incentives in mind for third parties to contribute from outside the wrestling space? Chikuzin says, not at this time, but we have incredible members on hand to discuss further, and we will announce anything that becomes more concrete. This has been a process that has taken quite some time. Can you talk about what went into that process and what business merits does this bring to each member promotion? Sancho Takagi says, things started during the COVID pandemic. We went from empty arenas to having partial attendance. As the industry struggled, there became more conversations between what became the members you see in front of you. The biggest thing has been the connection between companies in the face of social issues like that. As for benefits to the organizations, that really will be something that we work to create from here on. There's a period of discovery for all of us to fully understand the lay of the land. And as we have that understanding, we'll be better able and equipped for current members and prospective ones. Fair enough. Let's see. Dani recently said something. Oh man, this ought to be interesting. Dani recently said something inappropriate in a press conference, and that was seen as an issue by many on social media. Is that something that the UJPW Association will take steps against under its compliance guidelines? Dang, somebody really went there. Matsumoto says, there are a lot of things that wrestlers and member representatives may say or react to in social media. While fines and penalties aren't something we have discussed, but one of the goals that we have and will implement is a set of compliance guidelines that are then passed down to each promotion for training and education programs. Should something untoward happen in the future, appropriate governance and steps is something that we will likely discuss internally. Events like this press conference, as well as on our association website, will provide transparency as to what those guidelines are. Oh, and Dani responded. He said, I truly apologize for the trouble my comments caused. But let me say this. One of the most wonderful things about pro wrestling is how open and accepting the world is. To shut that down is unacceptable, and I should leave it there. It's fantastic that with pro wrestling, anything goes. That openness is the best thing, but it is being squeezed out. I had comments directed at me, but only from wrestling fans, not from music or video game fans. Wrestling is a hard field to get into compared to other media. Without that openness, the industry will contract. That might be fine to cater to a certain few, but wrestling will have lost its most attractive aspect. And then the last question, with the different scales of promotions in the association, how can UJPW overcome those issues when it comes to, for example, having medical staff on site? Okay. Sanshiro Takagi answered this. He said, in future, the ideal will be for UJPW to provide direct support in that regard. For now, we have to pull knowledge. We have to pull knowledge and find out what the best way to gain, and then distribute that support to members that require it. And like I said, I'll share the link to this article as well. But sounds like it was a very informative and very thought-provoking, upbuilding press conference. And like I said, this was 2 days ago on January 20th. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing, just what this organization, how they run things, and really what they do to make pro wrestling in Japan better, and just, maybe increase into around the world. You know what I mean? I'm very curious. I'm very curious, and I'm hopeful that they do well. I hope this whole organization does some awesome things going forward. And yeah, I look forward to it. Yes, indeed. So a couple of things I wanted to mention before I get to the TNA Genesis review. I haven't forgotten that. So, a couple of card updates for Seriism Chapter 6. So, a few updates. So, check it out. Okay, so first off, due to injuries for Sia and Kazuna Tanaka, of course, Kazuna Tanaka's still in recovery, dealing with her back. Not sure what happened to Sia, but she's now off of this card. So the changes that they did, so we're going to have, let's see. Oh, sorry about that. So here, instead of Kazuna Tanaka teaming with Jaguar Yokota, we have Jaguar Yokota and Honori Hana. Those two are going to team up to face the team of Yumiko Hota and Misa Kagura. So that's one change there. And then, let's see. No, not this one. No, not that one. Here we go. So, originally Victoria Yuzuki was supposed to face Shia, but now she will go one-on-one against Miku Kanai. So, those are your card changes for Seriism Chapter 6. I wanted to make sure I mentioned that because I did a preview of this card way long ago. So, and the show is coming up in a day, tomorrow actually. So, yeah. So, had to make sure I took care of that. Okay. With that being said, let's get into the review for TNA Genesis 2025, which took place at the Curtis Colwell Center in Dallas/Garland, Texas. This event happened on January 19th. This was pretty much the first pay-per-view for TNA to kick off 2025. And we had some decent matches overall, including a couple of titles on the line. We had two pre-show matches. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I didn't have a graphic for this first pre-show match, but Ashante the Adonis came out to the ring and issued an open challenge. And it was accepted by none other than Jake Something. So this turned into a one-on-one match, Jake Something versus Ashante the Adonis. So, hey, getting started off with their TNA WWE NXT partnership already. Match wasn't long. I think the match was apparently the match was barely 4 minutes. It was right at 3 minutes 53 seconds. So, not a long match at all. You could pretty much say squash. I mean, Ashante the Adonis got in a little bit of offense. Just a little bit of offense, but definitely was not going to overpower Jake Something. He ended up pinning Ashante after hitting the Into the Void. Pinned him for the 1, 2, 3. Jake Something is your winner in the pre-show opening. And then we go to our last pre-show match for Genesis, or Countdown to Genesis. And now I have some graphics, so check it out. All right. We had Frankie Kazarian going one-on-one with Leon Slater. Decent match for the most part. Like I said, I like both competitors. Match lasted 9 minutes 7 seconds, so just under 10 minutes. Definitely seemed to go back and forth. Good to see Leon do a good amount of high flying, but it was all said and done where Leon attempted the Swanton 450. Frankie Kazarian got the knees up, then pretty much rolled him up right afterwards. Got a handful of tights for the 1, 2, 3. Frankie Kazarian with the win over Leon Slater. And JDC was on special guest commentary for that match as well. But that was your Countdown to Genesis pre-show. And then to kick off the main card, started off with this match. All right. Started off with the TNA X Division Championship. As the champion, Moose, who unveiled the new title belt, defended it against the inevitable Ace Austin. Pretty good match. Ace Austin put up a good fight. Match was 14 minutes 47 seconds, and of course, Alicia Edwards and JDC were there, so Ace Austin definitely was outnumbered throughout this match, but he still put up a really good fight and brought some really good offense to Moose. I mean, he even kicked out of a spear. So I thought that was pretty impressive. But yeah, good match for the most part. But Moose was able to still get the last laugh. He hit Ace Austin with a spear to the back, just, anti-air. And then followed up with one more spear from the front. And then pinned him for the 1, 2, 3. So Moose still your X Division champion with new title belt and all. But like I said, Ace Austin put up a good fight. And then pretty much right afterwards, because, you know, JDC and Alicia, and then Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards came out, started beating down on Ace Austin. And then all of a sudden, Steve Maclin, Eric Young come down to pretty much make the save. And this pretty much tied in to the next match, which ended up being, as I said, which I'll pull up the graphic, the System, which is Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards versus the team of Eric Young and Steve Maclin. So, yeah, pretty much went straight into the next match. They brawled for a while outside, and then once everybody got settled in the ring, then bell rang. The match was okay. I mean, I can't say it was a match that I was like really on the edge of my seat for. It was only a 7-minute 30-second match, but like, nothing really special with this match. I mean, I know Alicia Edwards tried to run interference, but I mean, like I said, wasn't really anything special with this match. Steve Maclin got the pin on Brian Myers after hitting a KIA. Eric Young, Steve Maclin, you're winners. But yeah, match was Okay, let's go to our next match, which was a title match. One of our other title matches. Here we go. All right, we have the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championships on the line. As the champs, Spitfire of Jody Threat and Dani Luna, defending against Ash and Heather by Elegance. Thought it was pretty interesting to see Ash and Heather make their entrance as Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, which I thought that was pretty unique. Match lasted 9 minutes 30 seconds, so had a decent length for a TNA Knockout Tag Team title match. Ash and Heather by Elegance put up a pretty decent fight, but would just not end up being enough to become champs, as Spitfire got their bearings and pretty much took care of business near the end. Jody Threat pinned Ash by Elegance after they hit their double team finisher called the Pressure Drop. Pin for the 1-2-3. Jody Threat, Dani Luna, Spitfire, still your TNA Knockout Tag Team Champions. But yeah, pretty good match. Overall, pretty good match. All right, let's go to our next match. Continuing on with the ladies. You had the singles match between Jordynne Grace and making her return, Tessa Blanchard. Now, honestly, it was a good match. It was a good match. Went over 20 minutes. And I know Tessa got a lot of hateful cheers during this match. I'm not going to repeat what was said, but this was a very aggressive match, back and forth between these two. I mean, these two really went at it. It was hard hitting, back and forth, and say what you want about Tessa, but she can go in the ring. She's good in the ring. Let's just keep it real. You don't have to be a fan of her. I get it. But she takes care of business in the ring. I will say that. I mean, after all, there's a reason why she was a former TNA World Champion. Just saying. Just saying. But yeah, good match overall. And in her return match, Tessa Blanchard gets the victory on Jordynne Grace, hitting the Magnum, which is pretty much like Bushi's MX, very similar. Hit the Magnum and pinned her for the 1-2-3. Tessa Blanchard, your winner. And pretty much this signals, word is that this is pretty much Jordynne Grace's last match. And it looks like she is WWE bound. Word is, supposedly, she will be in the Royal Rumble, which won't be a first time for her. So, hey, I'm cool with it. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Tessa, what direction she goes next after this. So, we'll see. All right. Next up. Here we go. Next, we had the very brutal back and forth I Quit match between the Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander, and Mike Santana. To be honest, I have to say this was one of my favorite matches of the card. I mean, this one really went the distance. Went for over 23 minutes. I mean, back and forth. I mean, just both just beating the crap out of each other. Wouldn't quit. Wouldn't quit at all. Even got to see zip ties being used as Mike Santana put zip ties on Josh Alexander. Still wouldn't give up. And even when Josh Alexander was just brutalizing Mike Santana, he wouldn't give up. And it just went back and forth. It even got to the point where Mike Santana got a sock full of pool balls and kept hitting Josh Alexander in the gut with them to the point where he was spitting up blood. Still didn't give up. Still didn't quit. And as brutal as it was for both competitors, it came down to Mike Santana threatening to stomp, pretty much curb stomp, Josh Alexander's head into the steel steps. And as he was getting ready to do that, he kept yelling, I quit, I give up. So therefore, Mike Santana was your winner of the I Quit match. Afterwards, they shook hands. Josh Alexander announced that Mike Santana was the new standard TNA, and he also quit TNA. So Josh Alexander quits TNA. Santino Marella says there's going to be a state of address or something like that about that, but I think it's safe to say that Josh Alexander is finished up with TNA, and word is he may be WWE bound. So we'll see. And besides, if not WWE bound, he'll probably test free agency, freelance, whatever. But I think word is he may be WWE bound. But whichever promotion gets him will be getting a winner, because Josh Alexander's that dude. All right, let's move on to our next match. Here we go. Another title match. Check it out. Alrighty, we have the TNA World Tag Team Championships on the line as the champions, the Hardys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, defended against the Rascalz, Zachary, Wentz, Trey, Miguel. And special guests, Fraxium, the WWE NXT Tag Team Champions, Nathan Frazier, and Axiom were in attendance. They were on the ramp and sitting down in chairs to watch this title match. I enjoyed the match. I just wish it was longer. It was only a little over 13 minutes. I wish it could have been longer, like maybe 17, 18 minutes. Because I love both tag teams. I mean, I've met the Hardys. But overall, I thought the match was good. Even there was some inadvertent high flying that took out Fraxium. And, Fraxium and the Rascalz kind of got face to face, which did set up a tag title match. I believe TNA, or not TNA, I believe the NXT tag team titles will be on the line coming up. I think next week, Fraxium will defend against the Rascalz. So that should be really good. Great match overall, but Jeff Hardy ended up pinning Trey Miguel after an extreme combination, of course, which Matt hit the Twist of Fate, Jeff Hardy hit the Swanton Bomb. Hardys, still your tag champs. So, fun match. I just wish it was longer than 13 and a half minutes. Alrighty, let's go to our next match. You had the TNA Knockouts World Championship on the line in a Clockwork Orange House of Fun match. The champion, Masha Slamovich, the Russian Dynamite, defending against the Demon Assassin, Rosemary. So pretty much all this match is pretty much a hardcore match. No disqualifications, and also falls count anywhere. So that was pretty much the explained stipulations. This match was just a little over 14 minutes. Wish it could have been longer. There were all sorts of weapons and tools used. I mean, there was a staple gun, there was a kendo stick, a cookie sheet. Even Rosemary brought out Janice. Y'all remember Janice? That dark 2x4 that has nails and spikes all over it? Yeah, she brought out Janice. And, it was just... it was a pretty... I wouldn't say it was severely brutal, but I mean, it definitely went like a hardcore match went. Definitely back and forth. I mean, Rosemary put up a good fight, which isn't a surprise. I mean, she's a former champ herself. But the finish was pretty cool. The finish was pretty cool. Masha Slamovich hit Rosemary with pretty much an avalanche requiem pile driver through a set of steel chairs. And then made the cover 1, 2, 3. Masha, still your TNA Knockouts World Champion. And then after the match, Cora Jade. That's right, Cora Jade appears and pretty much gets in her face. So, looks like Cora Jade might be interested in some TNA Knockouts Championship gold. So, hey, I'm down. I'm down. And then finally, the main event of TNA Genesis 2025 came down to this. The TNA World Championship, as the champion, the wanted man, Nick Nemeth, defended against Joe Hendry. Now, Ryan Nemeth, his brother, wanted to be there to support. Santino Marella banned him from ringside, but of course he had a counter to that. He ended up buying a ticket so he could sit front row ringside for this match. The match was great, back and forth. The match went a little over 19 minutes. Kind of surprised it didn't go into the 20-minute mark with it being the main event. But, I mean, it was a good back and forth match. I mean, both even kicked out of their finishers. So I thought that was pretty great. In the midst of this match, as it was getting near the end, Frankie Kazarian, who is the Call Your Shot trophy holder, attempted to come down and cash in, but JBL appears and took out Kazarian and pretty much prevented that from happening. And I believe he also took out Ryan Nemeth as well. The match continued, but eventually Joe Hendry got the best of Nick Nemeth, caught him with a standing ovation, hit one last standing ovation, made the pin 1, 2, 3, and ladies and gentlemen, I know you kept believing, and it finally happened. Joe Hendry is your new TNA World Champion. So congratulations to Joe Hendry. He's at the top. Took a while. Took a lot of trial and error. But he is finally TNA World Champion. So congratulations to Joe Hendry. I've met Joe Hendry, so I love it. Hopefully he has a good run. And he even mentioned in an interview, I think he was on the on Busted Open or Bully Ray's podcast, and apparently Joe Hendry mentioned he would like to have a match or any sort of promo or match with John Cena. That's right. He wants to work with John Cena. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if he gets that opportunity, but you know, he has till the end of this year because, I mean, John Cena is on deck for one more year of his career this year. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But overall, TNA Genesis, it was all right. It was all right. And like I said, it comes on the cusp of their, you know, recently confirmed partnership with WWE. But yeah, you know, not bad. Not bad to open up 2025. And let's see. So it looks like their next big event will be TNA Sacrifice. That's March 14th. Let's see. What else? Oh, yeah, they announced TNA Wrestling Rebellion. That's April 27th. So let's see. Sacrifice will be in El Paso, Texas. Rebellion will be in Los Angeles, California. Slammiversary will be July 20th. That will be in Belmont Park, New York. Oh, okay. So Slammiversary in New York. So yeah, those are your next three big shows, I guess, for TNA. Makes me wonder. I guess they don't have anything scheduled for February. I mean, they probably will eventually. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, that's what they have so far. Also, word is, going back to WrestleMania 41 weekend, word is that they don't quite have there's no confirmation on ROH Supercard of Honor happening in Vegas. Well, it might still happen in Vegas, but maybe at a different venue. But right now, there's been no confirmation on ROH Supercard in Vegas WrestleMania week. So my guess is they either just don't have a venue picked out, or they just might not even do Supercard of Honor in Vegas. It might be somewhere else completely different. We'll see. We'll see what they do. I mean, I don't know what other venues are in Vegas that are going to be used. So, guess we got to wait and see. But anyway, that'll do it for this video. Thank y'all so much for sticking around through this. And like I said, I know it's a lot, covered a lot, but had to make sure I get all that out the way. And like I said, got a lot to look forward to even just with this week. I mean, you got the Stardom 14th Anniversary New Year Unit League Finals. You got Seriism Chapter 6. And next Saturday is Royal Rumble. So, really looking forward to how they prepare for that. But, yeah, should be good. Anyway, that'll do it for this video. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts on each of the topics discussed. Who do you think will win the TJPW tag tournament? Who are your favorites to win the Junior Heavyweight Noah Tag League? Also, the Stardom New Year Unit League. Who do you think is going to win? Neo Genesis or Empress Nexus Venus? Let me know your thoughts on the UJPW conference. And like I said, I will put links to those articles. For those that are going to be going to WrestleMania 41 weekend, attending shows, let me know what shows you're interested in. What shows you plan on going to and whatnot. And hey, maybe we'll run into each other. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell while you're at it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. For another Pro Wrestling Talk, brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the YouTube. My name is Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. Hope everybody has a blessed day tomorrow, and I will see y'all in the next video and our live stream. Later.